I was speaking at a HBCU. I won't say the name of the college. Kids came up to me and said, I cannot be financially successful compared to my white friends. Do we feel, as a culture, that African Americans, we can never be as successful financially as a Caucasian individual?
That's a horrible way to think.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I don't think anyone on this panel thinks that at all.
I think it's case by case.
I have a dream.
I think that if we're just being honest, in some instances that is true. In some instances that is not. I think there are.
In what instances?
If Oprah believed that.
And that's what I was about to go to.
So
that was the point. I was literally going to that point. I think those of us of our community who do break out, who do really understand financial freedom and literacy, I think some responsibility has to be put on them to reach back into the community and teach. You're not. The black billionaire is not in competition with the white billionaire. That's not that shouldn't be the mindset. The black billionaire mindset should be, how can we make more black billionaires?
Yeah.
I also, to the point of education, and I'm sorry, T, but to the point of education, I'm at the point now where I'm really considering the same $200,000 that I'm going in debt to get them a degree where they can't even get a $60,000 job. What could they do in 4 years if I invested $50,000 into their business? What could they be? What could they be in 4 years? And that's a mentality shift. That's a mentality shift, because are we really getting the tools that we need from the education system? I went to college. I got 2 degrees. I personally think if I would have started a business at 18 instead of going to college at 18, that I would be more successful today than I am. And I think that might be a mentality shift. It might take breaking out of cultural systems. It might take trying something new to actually see some different fruit and yield some different fruit. Because we all know the statistics on college graduates who can't get jobs.
Correct.
We all know the statistic. It's an epidemic at this point.
Yeah.
So that might be one of the, sorry T, that might be one of the big, that might be one of the college might be one of the biggest hustles in the country right now.
I can speak the truth for personal experience.
Sorry, T.
My daughter was going to Pepperdine, right? Malibu.
Ooh.
Too much money for me to ever think I could pay for it, right?
Ooh.
But she got a little scholarship. She went there, but obviously scholarship to take care of everything. You know, after 2 years, she wanted to come back home. And me and my wife was like, yeah, come on, let's go. Put her in community college. And she said, you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur just like you guys. I was like, at first, in my mind, you know, even though I was taught to be an entrepreneur, no, babe, you got to get the education. Then after her telling me, Dad, no, I want to do this. I want to be an entrepreneur. And we made a decision, a fiscal decision, to say, put that college on the side. When she was 18, she's 21 now, and she's doing $100,000 a year in her own business. And I look back now like, man, come on, man. Why? You know, I should have listened to her earlier. You know, but I'm true in understanding of what you're talking about, because I wholeheartedly believe that.
And I came from one of them households that was like, you going to college, you going to get, it was predetermined.
No more than
You're
that.
going to college, you're going to get your degree, and there was no plan for after I got my degree.
And I said, if you want to go back to school, and she's going back part-time just to get a degree, go back. But right now, hustle. Get your business started. She's been doing it successfully for 2 years. So I truly understand that. So
I'm close to that. I ain't there yet, but I'm close.
Yeah, but you know.
I heard you say something. I'm curious, and you may not agree with me. That's cool. Keep it 100. This is about y'all. I hate debt. I hate it like I hate candy yams. I just hate debt.
Hate
candy yams.
No marshmallows, nothing.
But I gotta ask this question, man. I gotta ask this question because I keep hearing this. TA said it earlier. Our African American students are taking out student loans to go to college, maxing it out. I hear you talk about $200,000 in debt, getting to college. I hear you talking about your daughter went off to college, got the education, but scholarships didn't take care of all of it. Can we, as a culture, go to school without racking up debt?
You said
can we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said can.
Yes. Can we be successful without racking up debt? Because I ask this question because when I hear HBCUs, studies are showing that 10 years after the average person, white person, graduates, they owe 65% of their student loan. 10 years. Dive deep. People who look like us, 10 years after they graduate, they owe 113%. They have the education, they have the degree, but we owe 113%.
Because we don't have the education.
What do you mean?
Listen, I have my degree. I want my children to get their degrees. I sit on the board of colleges here. It's very important to me to have an education.
Right.
But to what are you being educated? We don't have that information, and we don't want to hear that information that says, I'm going to live like no one else so that later I can live like no one else. We have to be willing to go and talk to somebody else. I'm going to get the information that I need to get in collaboration with, as you said, with God's children. God's kingdom doesn't have one color on it.
That's right.
And I think that when we get that education from other people who have that experience, like you said earlier, there has been such a wealth of knowledge that has been put out here on the table today, which I think all points back to we can't do any of this stuff by ourselves.
No.
As we think about Black History Month, all that we've gone through as a culture, where we currently are as a culture, and where we're going in the future, what is one thing you want the people to remember from you?
I would say, I've been thinking about this the whole time. I would say we've got to learn how to give, learn how to submit, and learn how to pray for each other. I think when you do those things, doors open for you. Large doors and opportunities open for those that are willing to give and sacrifice and open their hands up and not be so tight.
Yeah.
This is mine, this is my... Be fruitful and multiply and give. Because I can tell you from my own personal experiences that the more that I've given, the more that I've received in terms of peace and just doors opening for me in different ways that I could never have thought imaginable.
Wow.
And so I think we got to get out of this mindset of like, all right, like how much can I rack up in this lifetime? It's not about that. Like how much can you give in this lifetime?
Love it.
So what I would think is, so in the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech, the biggest line that always stands out to me is, we cannot walk alone. Meaning we need help from everyone. So we talked about this whole night, how Black people can help each other. But like I said, we're only 15% of this nation. And so that means there's 75% of people that influence everything. And we need their influence to help change the narrative about Black people and how far we can keep advancing. So that's the biggest thing. We can't walk alone, and we need the good people from every race to help us fight our fight and keep going on.
I totally believe in racism. I think systemic racism is the greatest form. I think it's alive and well and vibrant, especially over the past 3 years. I think classism is bigger than racism and equally destructive. I think all of these things are real. So my takeaway message, not to any other race. I don't think we even stand in a place to give them instructions. I think even when it comes down to white privilege, I don't think white people take white privilege. I think it's given to them and they don't give it back. I think they can't, it's not something they're taking. It's not something they're asking for. It's given to them. And that's not their fault. So not addressing any other race, just addressing our own people. I think because classism and racism and all these things exist, I would tell other people that look like me, other Black and brown people, don't prove them right. That's my only message. I think I don't have children yet, but when I have children, that's going to be my message to my children. You don't prove them right. You can't alter what anyone thinks of you. You can't alter, you could, try to do everything right and people are still going to have an opinion of you. You can't change that. But what you can do is not prove them right. And I think I work at a HBCU, so I see thousands of Black young people every single day. And I take a personal responsibility to pull them to the side one at a time if I have to and say, don't prove them right. You know, don't be in a certain place, act in a certain way and prove them right. Don't make this mistake. Don't follow this path. You know, I worry about our students when they go home for Christmas. Because there's somebody in the neighborhood that's jealous that you're going to school. And they might want to just ruin that for you because they're angry that they didn't have the same opportunity. Don't prove them right and be out there and give them a reason, you know? And it sounds like it's kind of conditioning as a reaction to post-traumatic stress. But I think that's just my personal view on it. If we don't prove the people that think the worst of us right, we'll get at least an inch ahead.
I think we need to show a little more compassion for each other, our brothers and sisters, if we're talking about our community. Have more willingness to listen to each other, right? Not all of us are in certain positions in life, but listen to each other's plight. You know, you can learn something from somebody who doesn't have as much as you. You can teach them vice versa. Right. You know, I think not allowing the blood that's been spilled on this United States of America from your ancestors go in vain. Right? Do everything you can. Educate yourself. Learn. Reach out to mentors. Make phone calls. Do what you got to do if that's what you want to do and become more successful or change the situation. Got to go after it. You know, time doesn't stop. You know, but our history is still there behind us, right? But just formulate a way to teach each other. Teach each other. There's got to be a way to teach each other. Teach the babies the right way. You know, be that symbol of hope. Be that beacon of hope. That's it.
I can sum up my final thought to this whole thing in a simple verse, Bible verse. Don't lay up treasures on earth where moths and rust corrupt, but lay up treasures in heaven. My main message would be that even though all of these issues that we've discussed today are real and are valid, this life is but a vapor. And in the grand scheme of things, nothing we talk about will go with us into eternity. I would say invest in eternal life. Like my man was saying, invest in your inner security and your self-esteem and your self-worth and producing fruit of the spirit and peace and joy and love. Those are the things that are never going to die. Those are the things that are eternal. And whether Jordans and Benzes or businesses and degrees, moths and rust corrupt all of these things. So don't even focus. Don't make stockpiling treasures on earth your priority ever.
What you gonna say, Mom? You've been quiet.
Oh, this was also great. The one thing that I would say is tying back to when you're talking about reading, just the power of renewing your mind, like regardless of what anyone has ever experienced or went through, there's so much power when we're just renewing our mind with truth, or at least what's like the areas that may feel like it's lacking, to invest in that, because whatever your actions are a reflection of your belief system. So whatever you're believing is eventually going to show out in your actions, but it's going to become your life. So if you continue to renew your mind with truth or invest in the areas that are lacking, all of a sudden, like as your belief system changes, it'll make a difference in your actions. And then also being careful what you're speaking, because whatever you continue to speak over and over and over is going to be what you start to believe, and then it's going to affect. So all that ties in together. So being very careful what you're saying out of your mouth to yourself, saying out of your mouth to other people around you, and then surrounding yourself with people that are going to speak into the areas that you may not see that may be dead, so that you can come to life. Like you're talking about, like how you connect with different people that basically don't do what you do, so you can get better and become well-rounded as a person. That's what I would say. Just invest in yourself so that you can be there for other people.
Piggybacking off of that and going back to what Christian said, if we end it the way that we began it, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was God, and the Word was with God, which lets us know that everything is circulating around words. I am the result of the words my father said to my mother. And I think that we have to be careful There was a song when I was a little girl, oh, be careful, little mouth, what you say. And I think that was so key, what you just finished saying, Simone, is that one of the things that I teach my team and that I teach my children is speak what you seek till you see what you've said. And I think that's the greatest investment that I could have ever made in them, is that power of life and death lie
In the tongue.
in our tongue. But more than anything, if I could give a thought to end what I've heard each and every one of you say, is that work is required of us. That to whom a lot is given, a lot is required in exchange. That you don't get to sit in this chair without having done something. You don't get to come to the table and get to be a part of the conversation without having done something.
That's right.
That work is required of you, and we expect to have great and amazing things while being mediocre. And mediocrity doesn't get you the kind of life that people write stories about. Mediocrity doesn't get you Mercedes-Benzes that are not attached to, can't sleep at night with an inability to pay for them, or even Jordan tennis shoes. And so I think the biggest thing for me that I would hope that anybody knew is that you've got to put in the work.
It's good. When you hear this last thing, one word. When you hear this, what is one word that comes to mind? One word when you hear this. Black people.
Resilient.
Powerful.
Beautiful.
Persistent.
Legendary.
Me.
Able.
Equip.
I'm still going.
Caring.
Got anything, Rick?
I just keep thinking about just the resiliency, but just think about all that we've overcome just since the last 400 years just in America. Slavery, Jim Crow laws, everything under the sun, and we still bounce back. And like you said, we're still the heartbeat of America. We're pop culture. The rappers are the new rock stars. Our athletes are the ones that are on the face of every sport, including golf. So I always just think, man, and that's the thing I take the most pride in, just how resilient it is, how resilient we are. And no matter like how many times we get knocked down or counted out, we get right back up and we keep punching. And that's something I take a great deal of pride in.
I think with all the differences in opinion here tonight, it's amazing how we can still circle back and just be proud of the people that we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope that's something individually and collectively that we never lose.
That's
like
right.
I've never felt sad that I was a Black person.
Oh,
I've never
no.
wanted to be
Never.
anything
Oh, no.
else. I'm happy about it. I'm
That's
proud
right.
of it. And I hope collectively as a body we always will be.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well said.
Such a deep and intellectual conversation tonight from dear friends of mine. And when you think of Black people, I'm curious to know what is one word. I want you to type that below and let me know what is your thoughts. But if you watched all 4 parts of this, thank you so much. I'm curious to know, what did you think about this? Do you want to see this again next year? What are some more questions maybe I can follow up and answer as well? But thank you again so much for just watching and dialoguing with me and with all of us, honestly, here. So I'll see you in the next video. You know what time it is. It's your boy, A.O., and I'm going to see you in the next video. Peace out.